About a week ago, I and a friend of mine were talking about haunted houses in America, and he said almost every house in America is haunted. When I asked him why, the reason he gave had an element of truth in it. If you want to know what he said, please drop a comment in the comment section below, and I'll be glad to reply you all. Now I'm going to talk about one haunted house in America. But before I get into that story, if you are a fan of the true, dark, and scary stories, well, you find the right channel. Welcome to the Dark Past, where I'll be bringing you one or two stories every week. So please do sit back, relax, and enjoy today's story. Now, in 2006, Susan Lewis and her daughter Jamie moved into a house in California. Not long after, Susan's boyfriend Matt and his daughter Maria joined them in the house. Things went along well good because Maria and Jamie were almost of the same age, which gladdened Susan's heart and Matt's. Because at first we were thinking they will have some problems. You know how girls always behave, always hitting at each other. But they hit on real good, they had a nice time, and everything was going real good with the family. One summer day, the family was outside in the pool having fun when Susan decided to go into the house to make them a sandwich. On stepping into the kitchen, she realized that the peanut butter jar was on its side in a liquid state, dripping onto the floor. She was like, why would the kids do this? She called on her daughter, Jamie, and asked her, did you do this? Jamie laughed. I'm like, why would I do this? I wouldn't have hit the peanut butter jar and not realizing it and just walked away. That no, she didn't do that. Then she said, okay, fine. She called on Marie. And Marie was like, I've been outside all day long. I've not stepped into the house at all. And Susan thought to herself, probably the cat hit the peanut butter jar, or probably maybe one of the girls don't want to admit they did it, and maybe the room was kind of hot earlier on. That's why it was in the liquid state she found it. She brushed it off, picked up the jar, cleaned up the mess, and went to join the family outside. Not quite long, when the family stepped into the house that evening, they were surprised at what they found. They realized that objects had been moved all over the house, like their canned food had been stacked on each step leading upstairs. In the bathroom, they realized that shampoo bottles had been stacked on top of one another. The hairbrush had been arranged in a star pattern on the counter. In the microwave, they saw other canned food, peanut butter jar, and stuffed animal in the microwave. Cleaning materials from the cabinet had been pulled out and laid in a strange pattern from shortest to tallest. They were first of all scared. Also, they realized that there had been strange substances all over the walls, from the roof to the walls to the floor. They couldn't tell which were peanut butter or ketchup or mustard. They were just like, what's going on? They ran outside of the house, thinking that probably the house might have been invaded. But they knew that if someone has stepped into their house, they would have seen the person because they've been outside all day long. Well, now, Matt was pointing accusing fingers at Jamie, while Susan was pointing accusing fingers too at Maria. They had this heated argument among themselves. Well, they stepped in, they cleaned up the mess, and they just went to bed. Moving forward, a couple of days later, Marie was in Jamie's room, sitting on Jamie's chair doing her homework, when Jamie stepped in with a cup of coffee in her hand, placed it on the bedside table, and realized that she just closed the door behind the door. The dog was trying to get into the room. She turned around, walked towards the door, opened the door for the dog to come in. And she turned around, she realized that the coffee she just placed on her bedside table was now spilled all over her bed. She screamed at Marie, why did you do this? Marie was like, I didn't do that. I've been sitting on this chair, minding my business, doing my homework. But she wasn't believing Marie. She walked angrily out of the room, went to the bathroom, grabbed a bottle of bleach, came back to the room and placed it on the dresser. She made sure that she closed her drawers, and she turned around, walked towards the bed, grabbed the blanket off the bed, turned around to go get the bleach, and realized that the bleach was now open on its side, pouring into her drawers. She was like, no, this can't be real. Marie was sitting on the chair all along, realized that too, and both girls started to scream. Their mom ran into the room. Now, what's going on? Why are you girls screaming? As Jamie was trying to explain to her mom how she just placed the bleach on her dresser and closed the drawers, and now the drawers are open and the bleach is poured into her drawers, something just flew, like a horse figurine, flew from nowhere and landed perfectly on the table. The mom was like, did you guys see that? They were like, yes, I just saw that. Before you knew it, things started flying all over the house. The picture on the wall fell, clothes were just flying everywhere. The girls screamed, they all screamed and ran out of the house. They ran into their mom's car, and Jamie told her mom, Mom, we have a poltergeist in the house. Now, a poltergeist is a ghost or a visual spirit that is responsible for causing physical disturbances, such as making loud noises and moving objects or destroying them. That evening, the girls decided to drive around for a while before they went back to the house. On getting to the house, they realized again that the house had been trashed. There were cans stacked on each step leading upstairs. There were things in the microwave. The brush had been laid in a star pattern again. Shampoo bottles had been laid on top of themselves. It was just a total mess. There were substances on every part of the wall. They were like, okay, they knew that they had something going on that was like some kind of paranormal activity going on in the house. They were cleaning up this mess when Matt stepped in. And Matt was like, what's going on? Now, Susan was trying to explain to Matt that something strange is going on in this house, that they have a paranormal activity in the house. But Matt wasn't believing it. Matt was a skeptic. He wasn't buying it at all. He thought that this was a prank. And now Susan is in on it. He was so upset. This now caused a heated argument among them. Matt so much believed that this was the doing of Jamie, that she was just trying to get attention. But the mom was trying to let him know that she saw all that happened earlier on, that it wasn't the girls doing none of it. But Matt was like, no, this can't be real. So days later, Susan woke up, went downstairs to the kitchen, and realized that there had been some arrow patterns drawn on the floor all over the wall that was leading to the vent on the wall, and the vent leads to the roof. She called on Matt and told Matt that, could you please go up to the roof to see if there is something in there that needs their attention. Matt, being a skeptic, wasn't having it, but Susan persuaded him to please go up there and see. He agreed. He took a ladder and a flashlight, went up the roof, looking around. He didn't see nothing, but he couldn't move further because if he had made the wrong step, he would have surely crashed through the roof to the living room. Susan, realizing that, told him, please just calm down. Don't need to move any further or go any further. That night, they had great disturbances. The doors were slamming all night. Lights went out, even though when you tried to turn off the switch, the lights wouldn't come back on. The stove was clicking as if it was about to leak, but it wasn't lighting. It just kept on clicking all night. All night, doors were slamming all night. The next day, Susan thought to herself that she needed to tell someone what's going on in the house. All this while, they've not told nobody. They didn't call the police. They believed if they have called the police, probably the police would this is a kind of a prank. And they might look stupid in the eyes of the police. So they decided not to involve the police all this while. So Susan went to a friend, told the friend what's going on. And the friend suggested, probably you should offer it a peace offering. But that's a nice idea. Okay, I'll give it a try. She went home, made this kind of makeshift altar, with candles all over. Susan, loving cats, had the cat figurine, took the cat figurine and said, please accept this gift. We don't mean no harm. We want you to know that we are not afraid of you and we don't want you to be afraid of us. As she was doing this, Matt walked in. Matt didn't have much of a sleep the previous night, so he called off Eddie from work to come home to get some more sleep and get ready for the next day. He realized what Susan was doing and got really furious. He was like, no, you're not going to talk to this thing. You're not going to act as if you're talking to the devil. This is not real. You guys are playing a prank. He angrily grabbed the cat figurine, walked towards the back door. And as he was doing this, the girls were shouting and saying, please don't do that, please don't. He wasn't listening, he wasn't having none of it. He opened the door and he threw the cat figurine. They all saw that cat figurine go straight to the backyard and landed somewhere in the woods. They all heard it land. Immediately they turned back and walked into the house. They realized that that same cat figurine was now sitting on the altar where Matt had just picked it up from. They were like, wow, did you see that? Do you not believe? Man was like, no, I don't believe. This is not real. He picked up the cat figurine again, and the guys were shouting at him, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Man smashed it on the floor, shattering it into pieces. That night, the girls knew that they were going to go through hell. Later on that night, Jamie, who was kind of feeling hungry, came down from her room, went to the kitchen, and when she turned up the lights, she saw written all over the place the word cat, cat. On the stove, to the walls, to the cabinet, everywhere. She screamed, alerting the rest of the family, who ran down to the kitchen to see what was going on. They switched off the whole light and they realized that the kitchen has been turned into a total mess. This was even worse. There was foodstuff, food particle everywhere. You name it, everything. On the walls, on the floor, it was a total mess. Now, Matt was so angry, believing Jamie did it because she was the one that came down to get whatever she wanted to get, feeling hungry. So he was believing that this was Jamie's doing. But Jamie was trying that, I didn't do this. Now, this started another heated argument. Well, they said, like, okay, let us clean up the mess. While doing that, they realized that there was a huge footprint on the floor that didn't look human at all. It was getting out of hand. They were like, okay, we got to do something. Susan was saying to herself, we got to do something. A couple of days later, they realized that Susan, who loves cats, that all her cats were getting ill. She had 2 cats, which had 2 litters, so there were a lot of cats in the house. Despite taking the cat to the vet, trying to do whatever they could to get them well, no, those cats started dying one after another until they all died. Now, Susan knew this thing is now taking the life of my pets. What am I going to do? Okay, moving on. So a couple of days later, Marie was home alone. Susan was at work. Now, they couldn't leave the house because they've invested all they had into the house. If they have left, they would have gone bankrupt. So Susan was down back making payments. She had to put more extra hours into work to raise some more money. She was at work that night. Matt was at work as well. Jamie has gone to run some errands, leaving Marie all alone in the house. Marie was in the living room watching TV when all of a sudden the TV began to flicker on and off in a rapid succession. She was like, she knew something was about to happen. She tried to grab the remote, and the remote just went away from her, like something pulled the remote away from her. Now, immediately she realized that the rocking chair at the corner of the room started to rock back and forth slowly. And she knew that there was something in the house with her. While all this had been happening days before, the whole family had decided to get some cameras. So she started taking pictures in rapid succession, taking pictures just all around, just taking pictures. Then before you knew it, things started to move. The vase had the flower fell, broke, mirrors cracked, pictures of the wall falling, furniture started to lift and smash all around. She ran into her room, picked up her phone, and called Jamie. Jamie was not far away from the house at that point in time. When Jamie got to the door, she tried to unlock the locks on the door. As she unlocked one, it locked back itself. She unlocked one, it locked back itself. She tried so hard, but fortunately, she was able to get into the house and went to Marie. It was not quite long, the mom came back from work because they all had to run inside the house and wait for the parents to get back. When the mom got back, Marie told her that I took pictures. When they looked at these pictures, they were like strange lights that you cannot explain. Some strange light like they were from outer space. When Matt got back from work and saw those pictures, then he knew this was real, that this thing could actually kill his daughter. Then he got really concerned. The next day, he picked up the phone book, went through it looking for a church to call. Maybe they could come perform some sort of exorcism. After trying severally, he actually found a priest that was willing to come to the house to see what was going on. When the priest got there, he went through the house looking at the mess that had been made and told them that you guys have a spiritual warfare going on here. He called them together, did some prayers with them, and that's all he could do. He couldn't help them. Now the family felt left all alone. The priest left, and they were like, oh my God, what can we do right now? They were really scared. There's nothing they could really do. So a couple of days later, Jamie was alone. This was the last episode that made the family realize that something really, really needs to be done. Jamie was alone at home while Matt and Susan were at work. Marie had to run some errands as well. Then she realized that there was this rapid banging on her door. Kept on going. She was so scared. She knew there was something over there at the back of the door. When at the point in time, she got off her bed, walked towards the door. As she was about to turn up the doorknob, it stopped. She ran back to the bed, sat down in the cord position. It started again, continuously, banging, loud. She was like, oh my God, this thing is out there trying to get in. She knew she had to just leave the house. She went to the door, turned the doorknob, and it stopped. Then this time she opened the door. She opened the door. Across her room is the bathroom. She realized that the light in the bathroom was flickering off and on. She knew it was in there. But there's something with the bathroom door. It had no knob. She couldn't lock it from the outside or from the inside. Then she thought to herself she had some strings in her drawers. She went in there, took out the strings, made it in a loop shape, went to the bathroom door and hooked it around and pulled it, thinking to herself that yes, she's trapped whatever this thing is in the bathroom. Not knowing that she was just deceiving herself. Because not quite long after then, it started pulling on the bathroom door, was pulling on the string, pulling. She held it so tight, and suddenly the string caught and she fell straight back into her room. Then the bathroom door swung slowly open, and she knew she was about to come face to face with whatever this thing was, that the nightmare she's been having was about to become reality. She thought that yes, she's going to see this demon now. She was standing there terrified, looking. All of a sudden, her door shut closed. Boom! Then she realized, because during that period when it was banging on the door, when she stepped out of her room, she realized there had been utensils all over the floor, like pots, pans, knives, hammers, cutleries, were all over the floor. So when she fell back into her bedroom and her door slammed suddenly, she heard the clattering of the utensils, like something was running through them, hitting them. She knew that, okay, this thing is in the house now, trying to do something funny. She walked towards the door, tried to open her door, it was locked. But immediately she could smell smoke coming into her room. She opened the door, she went out, and she saw sitting there in the middle of the hallway was a pan with the tissue paper in it was burning on fire. She ran out of the room and realized that tissue paper and other things that could cause fire in the house had been strewn all over the place, like in a week, trying to set the house on fire. She was like, this thing is about to kill me, burn me alive with me trapped in here. She started, first of all, put off the fire in the pan, and then started packing, like to get rid of all the tissue papers everywhere. Doing this, after she ran out of the house and called her parents. When they go back home, then they realized that no, it's gotten out of hand, that they had to leave the house. Although leaving the house would make them bankrupt, but they had no choice. It's either they leave the house or they die, they lose their life. They eventually left the house, and a few months later, their neighbors moved out. Some other people moved out, like 4 to 5 houses were vacated on that street alone. Then Susan thought to herself, probably I wasn't the only one, or my family wasn't the only family that this has been happening to. Those houses never sold. That movement made Susan and Matt break up. They never got back together, but the girls still remain close. Well, guys, that is the story for today. I hope you liked it. If you enjoyed the story, please don't forget to like it, share, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will see you guys next time, and thank you. That'll be all for today. Bye.